Welcome to For Collectors. All right, welcome collectors to another edition of the For Collectors Sunday live stream. It is now, with this show, a continuous year of doing a live stream every week. We missed one last February, and now we are remedying it this year, and I've had a nonstop weekly live stream for an entire year. So, all in all, we have missed 4 weeks in our channel history, and we aim to miss 0 moving forward. That's the goal. But I have assembled quite the panel here of folks who could care less about some sort of game that's being played. I don't know. I hear it's a kicking exhibition anyways. Around me, welcome, Justin, Go Crazy Card Collecting.
Hey, thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it. I'm excited. I tried to watch some of that game, but it was kicking for one team and not the other.
Yeah, but honestly, my take is, can both teams lose? That'd be my preference.
But I know some on this panel wish.
Mike, Jayhawker Vintage, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to talk to these guys. A couple of guys I have, actually Graig, I think I've never been on any type of a collaboration with. So I know we'll both have to let the other guys have some words. I know that we both are known as talkers, which is great. There won't be any dead air, I'll put it that way.
All right. With the record albums behind him, Jeff, a fine card collector, welcome.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. And yeah, same thing, Mike. I've never been on something with you or Justin or Greg. So very cool to be here. Thanks for having me. Nice to be on with you guys.
Great to have you. Greg, we'll go ahead and let you speak for a few seconds. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for including me. Thanks for having me. I'd much rather be here than in the other room watching that TV right now. So
I agree.
I'm thrilled to be here. I
mean, we hate the Seahawks now. I mean, I grew up with them in the AFC West, so they weren't such a bothersome entity. But, with them in this division the last, 30 years, now I hate them. So, but last and least, Chris from Missouri, welcome.
You haven't assembled such a great panel. What you have assembled is a bowl of granola. You got a couple fruits, nuts, and flakes in here. But
what does that make you, buddy?
I don't know which one I am yet.
He's the spoon.
Did you work on that all day?
I'm not telling you that I'm a homer, but I still bet on the Chiefs on this game. But
it would be much better working out for you. If our Chiefs and 49ers, it'd be at least a little bit more entertaining.
Oh my God! Every single advertisement these days is betting on something, though, isn't it? It's nuts. But,
oh God, yeah.
Are we just a gambling country now? Is that all we do? I don't know, but geez,
I got money on that we are.
Time to say hello to the chat. Welcome. We have got, first off, Andy, Dog Ate My Card, first to the chat this evening. Congratulations. Then we've got Jim at the bank. I know it puts the ats up here, so I don't always know exactly because their channel doesn't always match their at. Is that someone I know that I just don't know their at thing? I don't know. But Ross Loves Cards is here. Jacob Dahl, Nerding Out with Cards. Welcome, John. Then we've got Confluence Sports Cards, aka Ruben Snyder. Welcome. Sven Patrick, Jeffrey Clapper, Starkilla, Rob Cash Cards, Larry Gitlin, Storkzilla, David at Peacemaker Cards, and Mookie Chilson's in the house. Nick Chenoa, Iowa Collector, and there we go. We have got a few people that have better taste than this football game. So, all right.
Where are we in this football game anyway? Third quarter, right?
I think it is a third quarter. Last I checked, it was 12-0 with 4 field goals by the Seahawks.
A defensive game, they say.
Yeah,
I got it on in front of me. So if you ever need an update, just tell me the update.
Nah, that's all right.
but
We just want to know when it's over.
Yeah.
As someone living up here in the dearth of card shows that is the Pacific Northwest, I am excited about an upcoming show that happens to be in Ohio, who they just put tickets on sale. So anybody that is going to Independence, Ohio, for the Strongsville card show, those are on sale for a discount for about till the end of the month, I believe. You can get them for the cheapest price available. So I would hop on there and do that soon. But out of this panel, I think all of us but Justin are going. Is that the case here?
Oh, come on, Justin. Yeah.
I know. As a band director, we always have state competition like that same weekend every year.
Yeah, my buddy Adam in Portland, who's a college teacher, feels like he can't leave mid-school year either. So,
yeah,
but tough. I guess Graig, that's an obstacle for him because
I put me first and the kids second. So
there you go. That's the way to do
it. That's what we're doing. Yeah, I'm missing this Friday too because I'm going down to Ontario. So I will be missing 3 school days this year just for card shows. So I get 10. I get to use them however I want. So I go to work when I'm sick, and then when I'm not sick, I fly to the middle of Ohio.
All right.
Nice.
Well, there is some confusion of what the hell we're supposed to call it now, and the only fun thing I prepared for this entire live stream, which is mostly unprepared, is this quick little naming puzzle to solve. So let me share that on my screen here. I'll have it up in just a second. Here we go. So what should we all be calling the Strongsville show? So option A, let's just keep calling it Strongsville. But then option B, is it now Independence? Or option C, is it Strong Dependence?
I got one.
Well, I've got a couple more options for you, Chris, here.
Oh, okay.
So
You're
in
gonna
the
name my
spirit
options.
of what the Angels did a few years back, we could always go with the Strongsville Sports Collectors Convention of Independence.
That's a good one. That's a great one.
Or my last choice was with a little AI assistance, and I had it think of how to do it in the style of a Minnesota legend. And it is the card show formerly known as Strongsville. So what do we think about that one there? So thank you, ChatGPT. So there we go.
like D. My vote's for D.
So we got one vote for D. This
I got I'm none of the above. I made up my own. And it's
sums up Chris perfectly. None of the above.
None of the above.
Well, actually, fun fact on the
We ought to
about
put that
page
on a shirt.
of the show, it was originally the Ohio Sports Collectors Convention when it started in 1978. So this will be the 49th year then, with it starting in 78. So we're looking at 50th show next year.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a good show. My choice of the name would be Independenceville.
Oh, we had another option here of the Sellout Show.
Ooh.
Ouch. But,
don't you get a say, Chris? Don't you have mayoral rights or something?
they're trying to impeach me. There's some kind of financial thing in the government up there, and they're blaming that stuff on me. So I'm just trying to stay out of that debate.
All right. So it's been like 8 minutes. Anyone going to show some cards? If we feel like it, I don't know.
Yeah, I like the comment about the 49ers aren't playing in San Francisco, but they're still the San Francisco 49ers. It's sort of like the Dallas Cowboys don't play in Dallas, but they're still the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm in favor of calling it the Strongsville show still.
Yeah, I think that's generally what we've been doing. So
Strongsville just kind of rolls off the tongue easier. A lot of us, I've watched the videos, myself included, we still call it Strongsville. Sometimes we'll call it Independence, sometimes call it Strongsville. The website still calls it Strongsville for the vintage side. So,
well, wouldn't it be awesome? Wouldn't it be awesome if it was just such a good show that it was easy to change, and then 5 years from now we'd talk about how much fun Strongsville was? But man, I'm glad they moved it to Independence. Wouldn't that be cool?
I have a feeling that's the way it's going to be. I've never been, right? So I can't speak from experience, of course, but I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those things where when it's all said and done, everybody's going to kind of look back and say, yeah, we were really leery about this thing, moving and all that kind of stuff. But I have a feeling everyone's going to look back and be like, that was a great show. This is the best show yet, But again, I'm not speaking from experience. I just kind of have a feeling, right?
Well, I'm in
the appeal of that Best Western. I mean, how are we going to feel when all
that's a nice benefit. Being able to walk across the parking lot to the show and back to your hotel is a very nice benefit. But I don't know. Again, I think the new venues is probably going to be a nice update. Although I like the charm, from what I hear, of an ice rink, right? That would be ice rink would be a very nice, kind of charming, vintage place to look at cards and all that good stuff. But again, I just have a feeling everyone's going to look back at the end of this and be like, yeah, this was probably the best show yet. And I think it's because of the people. I think the people attending are going to make it that.
Speaking of people, I hear there's a gathering of YouTubers happening Friday night, huh?
This Friday night? Is that what you're saying, John?
Yeah. Just the
best.
I
was talking about it that week in Strongsville. But.
Oh, yeah. There is one this Friday night, too. In LA.
There is. Yeah. There's a couple Strongsville show in between ours, right? But we are still going to have, before we get to that Friday night thing, John, I think what made Strongsville there is going to make it different for us this year is I don't think it's going to feel quite as busy. I mean, when you go to a regular card show, and Greg, you went to a big one, or did you just go to a big one? No, you're going to a big one in March, but you just went to one?
I went to one a week ago that was 350 tables.
Okay, so how long were you on that floor?
That's a good question. 4 or 5 hours.
So that's a long time, right?
Yeah. Most of the time wasn't looking at cards. I just end up talking with people and
so that's what happens. That's what happened at Strongsville. We were on that show at least 4 or 5 hours, right? And the next day we were on that show on the floor 4 or 5 hours. And that little place that little area made that seem like it was packed, and it was packed the whole time. And I think this area that we're going to, is not going to be huge, but it's going to be, I bet it's twice the size, right? And so I don't think it's going to be as cozy and stuff, but I think there's going to be just as many great dealers there. And,
how was the at Strongsville? How was the because I went to the National, right? And I think a lot of you guys did too. But I guess it was like the upstairs. You guys remember like the second floor at the National, how it was really, really tight and the aisles were tight. And at one point I was just like, I'm not even going to look at any of the tables up here because it's just way too tight to try to maneuver through everybody. I had heard, and again, I haven't been, but I had heard it was a little bit like that at Strongsville. Is that correct or not at all?
No, it
No?
was
Okay.
nowhere near that packed.
Okay.
Not
All
at
right.
all.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good then.
I feel like the peak, even at the ice rink, was less crowded than the areas around the national. When it gets really crowded. So, or even my local, what ends up being a mostly Pokemon show, gets nuts by the time you get to noon. So,
the Strongsville show? How many? Because I hear all the time, local card shows and such. X amount of tables. How many? What is roughly table wise at Strongsville? And then I guess my next question would be, what is table wise at something like the National? Just to try to scale it, because I don't know the
Greg, you want
difference.
to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a tough question. Do you know the center room at the National where the PSA booth was?
Yes.
I would say that center area is about the size of Strongsville. Maybe Strongsville was a little bigger than that.
Okay.
And probably equally as crowded. So I would, if I were to guess, I would say historically Strongsville's been like 125 tables maybe. But the thing is that maybe less, maybe 100. But they're all the top dealer. They're all the top vintage dealers. Not all of them, but it's
with a pretty good answer there. Strongsville 160.
Yeah. There you go, Joe.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just different. Like I mean, listen, the way I look at the Strongsville show, or I'll keep calling it the Strongsville show, is that any card show is about who shows up and who are the dealers that are there and the cards that are there. And when you have 5 or 6 of the top dealers in the country show up to this show, and a whole bunch of people that you like show up at this show, it doesn't matter if it's in a Holiday Inn or if it's the convention center down the street or an ice rink. It is going to be a good time, and it's going to be a bunch of good people who like cards and like each other, and a bunch of the best cards in the world. So I mean, it's hard to screw this up. So I think it'll be great.
Yeah, I agree.
From the conversations that I've had with guys putting on the show, and then also with Kyle collecting America's Pastime, he's working for a card shop. They're actually setting up there. Supposedly they're going to have more tables available for the vintage side. But kind of to piggyback on Graig, I was pretty bummed, like most people were. I'd never been to Strongsville, and I was looking forward to that special, intimate type of a show. But it is what it is. And what all of you guys have said so far tonight really has hit home to me is the same dealers are going to be there with more stuff that they can bring potentially. We're going to have even more people from the community, not just guys who make YouTube content, but guys who just watch YouTube and make comments. We've seen a lot of comments of people saying, "Hey, I'm going for the first time." And so I'm trying to look at this as a positive thing. We can make the best of it that we can. If we don't like it, if it turns out to be a catastrophe, we'll pivot. We can do something else. I know there's lots of talks about other things potentially for vintage only type shows. So, I mean, there's some pressure on the promoters to do it right for the vintage side. But I think if we go there, we can make the part that we have control over the best we can make it. The hangouts, the get-togethers, the trade nights, all that stuff. We actually can still control that the best that we can. So I'm still excited. I'm very excited to go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's still going to be great. It's just going to be different, right. I'm looking for, it's going to be the best show I go to this year. So, I believe it will be the best show unless we go, unless, there's a ton of us that goes to one little show and we get to hang out the whole time. That might be able to push it. But as far as seeing good cards, it's going to be the best. And it's just it's a business. They want to make money. I get it. I hope we don't, here in a couple of years say, okay, what's next? Does it start to look like, my Kansas City card show? Do you you raise the table fees for these guys. It may be a whole different group come in of cards that we don't like or we don't collect. But man, it's gonna be a great time. And now we can get to Friday night if you want me to, John. Because
well, here's a question that at least three of us here can answer: is what's our favorite part about Strongsville here?
I mean, it's not that you see rarer stuff than like the National. I would say you see not as much rare stuff as the National, but what you have is, instead of having, Stan on one end of the National and Ash on another end and Tim Payne in a different room, and having to travel to some of these top guys, and Chappell is in a different room, and like they were in the National, they weren't near each other. And so what happens is everything's right there. And so I wouldn't say that you're going to see stuff that you've never seen before. If you've been to the National, you'll see more rarer things than you would at Strongsville. But at Strongsville, it's, I'm looking at a card and I look to my right and John's there, and I look to my left and Chris is there, and I go, what do you guys think of this? I'm thinking about buying this card. And everywhere you turn, there are your friends are all in one place. And you can just say, hey, Darren, come here. Hey, Tony, come here. Because everybody's just so close. And I think we can make the argument that this new show might be better in some ways too, because last year, like Garrett, right? Ballpark Memories, he's become a really good vintage dealer. And because there was, they changed the way the room was set up, and they actually went into the other ice rink last year, and they kind of changed the format a little bit. Like they had room for Garrett. And so if there's more room, there might be some additional dealers that want to attend that can now. So it could possibly have more good dealers than it did before. I liked being able to walk across the parking lot if, I had a big lunch and I got a stomach ache, we're all old and have weak bladders and bad knees, So I would go up and take a shower and lay down for 30 minutes or something. Like that's the part I'm going to miss, is not having a car and not being able to walk across the parking lot. But as far as the actual show, I think the show will probably be better.
Yeah.
And as far as the people, I think there will be more people that, are in our community or in our friend group. And that will make that more fun. It'll make the trade night that the four collectors put on, that will be better. Like all of that will be better. It just won't be as convenient. And the question is whether that convenience is a major, hiccup, or whether it's not that big of a deal. That's my take.
Very good point.
I'd like to add one little thing about that.
You don't got nothing to add. You're just trying to make me look bad.
Yeah. Like when you said, hey, can I give you a quick thought? And I said, no, you never have. So
this guy.
My take on it is the Nationals like speed dating, right? Yeah, you see guys on the floor. Hey, you shake hands real quick because that time's valuable. And what Strongsville has allowed us to do is spend more time with more friends. And I know this to be a fact. If you think about it, it's allowed us to get to become friends with the dealers better, get closer with the dealers, because the National, they're set up and they got guys with them. They're busy all the time. They're always making deals. And the dealers are busy at Strongsville because the time they spend is more quality. But you, Greg, I know you have. You got to spend some more time with Ash and Stan, and got to know them, and they've also got to know you, and they have become part of my friend group. And if they had 3 different Nationals during the year, I wouldn't get to know Tony of Monster Cards, or Garrett, or Stan, or just name them. And so it's not like speed dating. And To me, I
wanna-
think that's been the best part, and then also the best part of it. Anytime we have the get-togethers and stuff, you meet somebody you've never met before, and that's my take.
I'll tell you one thing that'll get your juices flowing if you've not done it, if you've never been, like I know Jeff and I have not been, because I've done this, is last year I started my channel literally 2 weeks before Strongsville. Now I knew what Strongsville was, but I had never really watched the videos. So I watched them all, like you guys probably did as well. And I didn't know that many people, like on the trade nights and the meet and greets, if they had the videos up. But I recently have been watching them again, and now just being more active in the community and watching a lot of content and watching a lot of you guys. Now, when I go back and watch those same videos again, it's rare how many people I don't recognize from the trade nights and the meet and greets and the different get-togethers. And boy, that talk about getting your juices flowing, man. I won't feel like I'm walking in as a stranger. I'll feel like I'm walking in and getting ready to meet a bunch of new friends. So I'm pumped up to go just for that reason. That's the main reason I want to go, is just to meet all you guys.
I think a lot of us are in the same boat, Mike, because for me as well, it's not about the cards necessarily, right? Because I'm coming from Southern California, you know what I mean? So for me, the hotel and the airfare and all that stuff, like I could have a really nice card, that I could buy here locally in Southern California for what I'm paying just to go to the show, right? And so for me, it was just, and I hope this show, which I have faith it's going to, right? The big draw for me for Strongsville was, I went to the National. Chicago's easy for me, right? I'm from Chicago. And so I got a brother that lives 15 minutes from, Rosemont from the National. So for me, when I go to Chicago, I could stay with my brother, he'll drive me or I can Uber to the National and it's easy, right? And my expectation this year, I did meet a lot of guys at the National this year, but, I started my channel probably 2 months before the National. And so, obviously since then I've interacted and became friends with a lot more guys in the community. And that's the big draw for me this year for Strongsville, right? Because, I just heard Strongsville is the show to go to, because I went to the National, met a bunch of guys, but it wasn't nearly like I thought it was going to be. I didn't hardly see anybody on the floor. I may have ran into a few guys on the floor. That's it. I went to the YouTube meetup. I think it was Friday night. And I met most of the guys there. But besides that, I didn't see anybody on the floor. And then when I had heard, Strongsville, how small and boutique kind of show it is, and vintage, and literally everybody from this YouTube community is there. That was the draw, right? It's like getting to the show, meeting everybody who I've watched forever and have been, following their channel forever. And so again, that's what it's all about. And so that's why I'm going. And I think that's why, Mike, probably you're going. And I think that's why a lot of people are going. And so, initially when it changed venues, I think a lot of us were disappointed and we're like, well, this sucks. It's just going to turn into another Chicago National, but I think it's going to be, again, I think it's going to be one of those shows where it's definitely different. It's not as maybe intimate of a setting at the show like a ice rink would be, but I just have a feeling there's going to be, we're still going to have that same kind of camaraderie between everybody, and everybody's going to get to meet everybody, and we're still going to see everybody on the floor like what I was hoping for at the National. So I have no doubt it's going to be incredible,
You got to be a little bit careful, though, for the first time, Jeff, because not everybody's nice. And some people are going to be rude to you, like watch out for Orlando and Scott Reindeer Studio and Mike Baseball Collector. I mean, if you need some help navigating good people and bad people,
I'm going to come find you.
Yeah, just put your hand on my shoulder and stay behind me, and I'll block the way through.
All right, got it. I appreciate it.
Well, Chris can attest where we live, especially where I live on the Kansas side of the border. There's not a lot of quality vintage at the shows down there. So I'm excited because I met up with Chris and Mike Moynihan actually came up to this show in St. Louis, the Westport show. And I saw Bill Chappell. I was blown away by the cards because I've never seen those cards like that live. So part of that, yes, that is the draw for me. But I'll tell you, I saw Orlando make a comment about it's the people, and he could not be more right. And I'll give you a quick story. I was on my way to a show Chris, I don't know if it was the Boonville show or the Columbia show when Orlando had his video telling us about his cancer diagnosis. I had just pulled off to go to the gas station to get some gas, and I missed the I-70 turn, so I was on a back road getting ready to turn off when I heard his video, and I had to stop on this back road because I've never talked to Orlando once in my life. The only thing I know about Orlando is from what I've seen on his videos, and especially through all of the other people in the community. And I teared up, and I've never had a conversation with Orlando, but because I know the person that he is and what he represents to the community, it's guys like that and so many others that's the draw, I think, for a lot of us to go to this show, because there's so many of us, and it's going to be not as intimate, maybe because it's not one hotel, but it's going to be a lot more intimate than I think that we're realizing it's going to be. We're still going to get together, several opportunities to get together. So yeah, I'm just, that's what it's really about.
Well, even the peak hours of the show, I still expect it to be sort of like last year, where I look both ways and I see at least 2 YouTubers.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for too.
So I don't expect that to change. And then we're going to be all gathering together Friday night at the Embassy Suites for Chris's event. We're all going to be gathering Saturday night at the Holiday Inn for our event for 4 collectors. And we're going to get lots of FaceTime. And that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most. So
is there going to be a showcase showdown? I just saw Ruben ask that. So Chris, talk about Friday, man. I know some people have asked about that already in the chat.
Oh, as far as the entertainment, I don't know, but we got to have Ruben kind of announce whatever's going on, right? And I think we'll give him like a microphone with a speaker, and then he can like catcall everybody as they go into the room. But I don't know. I don't know if we want to do a showcase showdown or have some other people do live stuff. I don't know, but it's not going to be a black tie affair, that's for sure. But we're going to have a buffet style meal for everybody there. To get the room, I had to guarantee them so much money for food and stuff, and so we're gonna put a buffet style meal in here. Last year when I was doing videos, I would do some and say, okay, I need to kind of know who's coming, right? And it gained traction to where it kind of snowballed that, oh, so and so's coming, and then they might think some of the people that watch their channel, they decide they're going to come. And that, last year I think I had 71 people sign my banner that when we entered on Friday night. This year it's going to be much more than that, I believe. But I don't know what kind of entertainment we're going to have. But if anybody has some ideas, they can shoot them my way. Showcase Showdown was fun in Strongsville, and I want to just kind of remain undefeated in Showcase Showdown.
I thought there was a reason behind that.
Yeah, we've had 2 live Showcase Showdowns, and Mike hasn't won either one of those.
Well, that's why I figured it was canceled, because Mike didn't want to go over 3. So.
He does pretty good when we do Showcase Showdown on his channel, but I think there's a lot of guys like that are really tough when they're behind a keyboard, but when they're face to face, I think Mike's that guy. He just he's 0-2, and I don't know if he deserves a rematch or not. This isn't Rocky. Right? So, but no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be in Embassy Suites. We're going to start it. We're going to start it. I haven't picked a time yet, but I assume it's going to be around, 6:30 or 7, and it's going to go till everybody leaves. We're going to have beer there, beer and drinks. We're going to have a bartender there. We have to guarantee a certain amount of money, but if I can talk Billy, Phil Necro collector, and his friend, I don't think any of you guys need to help out. They can probably handle that on their own, that tab. And so I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And Yeah, it's going to be a nice little preview to the Saturday trade night. Is there any questions about it? You guys have any questions that I can not really answer?
I mean, it's really right after the show, right? So when the show finishes on Friday, it's at the embassy, and then when the show finishes Saturday, it's at the what's the other one? Holiday Inn. Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn's where all the dealers are staying.
Yep. But that's ultimately what it is, right? Like literally right when the show's done, everybody on Friday to the embassy, everybody on Saturday, Holiday Inn, right?
That's right.
I did see some comments about people asking like different things to do. And so I don't remember, I couldn't tell you, but I did a video with 3 Clevelanders, Scott, Ranger Studios, Warren D, and Kyle collecting America's Pastime. If you watch that, they actually talk about the area where the show is and the hotels that people are staying on. There's a lot more to do. There was like a Top Golf there, a lot more restaurants. So there's a lot more variety of stuff to do there. Reach out to them, watch the video, whatever you want to do. But obviously you can Google it too, just to see. But that's another benefit of, I think, the move. There wasn't much what I understand where the old Best Western was at Strongsville. So
I kind of like that there's nothing to do though. Like I don't need to go to Top Golf. I can go to Top Golf anytime. I don't.
No.
I want to sit around the lobby and sit around the bar and go table to table and pull up a chair with people. So like I'm not too worried about being able to fill time. I'm worried about there not being enough time. That's kind of that's been my experience with it. Is I go to bed late and I wake up early, and the whole time you walk down the hallway and you'll see everybody. It's cool. Another thing, I was talking with Jake, or Wax Pack Wisdom Jake, who's going to also be going for the first time this year, about when I go to a card show, a lot of the time I feel like this pressure to go through the whole room to make sure that I'm not buying something when there's remember Chris a couple years ago when Billy Ballgame goes into the National and immediately buys a Bob Gibson. No, he bought a Bob Gibson rookie. And like 2 tables later, like his 3rd and 4th table, he goes and he sees this Hank Aaron that he has to have. So he's like, I can't buy the Hank Aaron because I bought this Bob Gibson. And so then the dealer ends up buying the Bob Gibson off of him. So he has enough money to buy the Hank Aaron. And in the National, that for me is kind of stressful. Like I feel like before I can buy, I kind of have to like zip through the room and look for like my top tier targets. And at Strongsville, because it's smaller, like you can do that in like 20 minutes instead of 2 hours. So there's something to be said for that aspect of it. I think is kind of a cool thing too, is you can really see what's in the room real quickly before you then have to worry about buying something that you wish you had waited because this other thing you wanted more.
Craig, I got a question for you.
And then focus in to where you want then. Yeah.
So I got a question for you guys, asking for advice for those of us like me and Jeff who maybe have never gone. So I a lot of times when I go to a show, I spend my money really quick. Now, I don't normally have lists. There's some cards that I'm thinking of when I go to this show. I do for this show. So there are some ones that I really kind of want to look for. So what would your advice be? Because every card I'm looking for, there's going to be multiple of these. They're not like super rare or anything. What would your advice be if you find one that right off the bat, like with the first table or 2, meets your eye appeal? Because that's how I shop. Meets my eye appeal, fits the budget I'm thinking of. Because I'll research it going into it. Would your advice be if you see it, get it, or make the rounds and see if you can get a better deal somewhere, with the knowledge of it may not be there when you come back around? How do you guys normally do that when you go to a show like this?
For you, Mike, I got 2 things. Bring more money.
You can see this coming from a mile away.
And if you don't bring more money, still go buy your card. Let somebody hold that card. Go knock off a liquor store, come up with that kind of money and buy your other cards.
I'll take that into consideration, Chris.
Well, here's the thing. You're never going to have enough money at that show to buy everything that you want that looks good. You're just not. I mean,
so
I would put, you got plenty of people here. And what's cool about Strongsville is you have more eyes on things for you. Now, some people think, well, I don't want to let people know what I'm looking for. That's a great idea. I'm going to look for that card. I've heard a couple people on their channels do that, right? I'm not telling you what I'm looking for, but at that Strongsville show, let some people know, hey, I'm looking for this. And if you see it, and somebody's going to help you, I guarantee you, they'll help you. There's people out there that love looking for stuff for other people, and but no, I make a list. I have an idea what it's going to cost, and I hope to either bring cards to trade or enough money. Is that right? Everybody got something different?
I don't disagree with that, but part of what would go into the calculator for me is who's the dealer, because I know that there are some dealers who price high and don't really come that far off of it, and there are other dealers that price to sell. And so if it was one of the dealers that I thought was a pretty aggressive pricer, that might affect it. So, but yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, you may not have a lot of time because stuff will go fast because people go to these destination shows to buy. And so there are a lot of people with a lot of cash in their pocket. And so it's not like the local card show that has 3 vintage dealers and there's only 5 vintage buyers where you can make the rounds a couple of times. Like the good stuff, especially the high eye appeal stuff, if it's priced fairly, it will sell, and it will sell pretty fast. I had a card last year at Strongsville that I just dragged my feet on, and it sold. I finally went back to buy it, and it was gone. And I'm just like, well, that serves me right, So I would say if it's the right price and it's the right eye appeal, and it's high eye appeal, I wouldn't wait too long. And maybe there's a table 2 doors down that has a little bit of a better price, but at the end of the day, you're not going to care about that.
I got a serious one too. That's very good. Golly, I know I told us to put that thought in Mike's head at one time because that was a good thought. But also, I'm both 2 times I went to Strongsville. The 2 times that I went to Strongsville, I made the deal before I went to Strongsville. These guys are on Facebook. You can find them a lot of these guys on Facebook. Some of them aren't. But I made a deal last year with Ash a week before Strongsville. And I was nervous because he finally got that card. But I also did that with Stan on one of the shows that I went to. And I saw the card on Facebook. I said, let's make a deal on that. So that way I knew what cards to take to trade, and I knew how much money. Because a lot of times, if you think you're going to trade for something, some of those dealers, if you don't know this and what they want in advance, some of those dealers, what if they say, no, I don't want that, and you've been planning on trading that to them the whole time? So if it's a bigger card, try to make the deal before the show.
All right, I think I'm contractually obligated to show this comment here, thanks to Theo. That would be, is anyone bringing fire to the vintage trade night? Because it looks like all the awesome cards are going to collector investor auctions. Speaking of collector investor auctions, it's a great auction house to sign with or to buy with, because either way, they are fast on both ends. Collector investor auctions, the community's auction house. There we go. You're welcome, Theo. And this is a new record for me personally, to be on a live stream for almost 45 minutes without a single card shown. So who wants to break the cherry and show a card? Anything you picked up recently of interest?
I'll show a card. They're all in here whining that I'm not talking. I don't have much to talk about. I'm not I'm not going to Strongsville. So I was actually told that I was getting free cards to come on this thing. I didn't know you
Those are in the
guys.
mail.
Oh, okay. No, there's been a card that I've wanted for about 2 years, and I've been saving up for it. And every time I get close to it, I've spent money on it. But I found one. This is the card right here. And it's graded a 1. I was bidding on one right before I bought this one. That was a 4 that looked not as good. It wasn't as centered as this. Didn't look as good as this. And it
Look
went
at that
for
perfect centering.
Yeah, it went for about $275 more than this one.
That card is all about the centering. Like that's key for that card, because when you find one that's perfectly centered, like that one, I know it has little staples. I watched your video a few days ago, but I mean, that's a beautiful one. And yeah, that's a good buy right there.
I got this for under 500. And I mean, because it's got a 1 on it, but there's no snowing there. It's just a beautiful,
it's great looking card.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about it.
Congrats.
All right, you want me to show one? I'll show one now. It's a special one for me. I showed it. It's a recent pickup. I showed it on one of my videos recently, and it goes right in line with that. It's graded a 2, right? A little bit older, but it's graded a 2. But this was a beautiful 2. And Greg, I got this from Ash as well. So I saw it on eBay. I realized it was being sold by Legacy Cards. And I was like, I know that name. I think it's Ash. And I don't know if I've ever bought anything from him before. But I went outside of eBay, contacted him, and we worked out a deal. So I got it right at average VCP plus tax, right? So I knew if I was buying it on eBay, I would have bought it. I would have been happy buying it for average VCP. I would have paid tax on it. And so I bought it from Ash outside of eBay for, average VCP plus tax. But it's a beautiful PSA 2. And
wow.
Oh, nice.
But I mean, just how beautiful is that 2? I mean, there's no creases in it. I mean, yeah, corners are a little rounded, but I mean, it's a beautiful card for a 2. So had to pick that one up. I was looking for that one for a while. So
wow.
And a very new purchase. So wanted to show it here as well.
Well, I'll show one since we're showing some cards. There's been a lot of beautiful pre-war the last few days. I know I had Matt, the card story online, going down the rabbit hole. He's recently getting into pre-war. And then we saw the stuff, the Net 54. Chris, I was on a chat with Chris last night, and he was watching that. And you could just see and hear from his voice how crazy it was. And I hadn't seen a lot of that yet, but beautiful stuff. But you can still get into pre-war that's beautiful for less than $100. So I'll just show one, and my St. Louis guys will love this because I just picked it up. That's a 38 or 37 Dixie Lid Premiums.
Yeah.
Joe Medwick. And I mean, these are gorgeous. And you can get these in good condition for some of the players. Now, if you look if you get a Feller or a Fox, you're going to go north of 100, but you can still get some other ones. There's not that many baseball players in the set, but man, I love that. I mean, that's just a beautiful pre-war item. So
what is it again, Mike? What's the year in the set?
So this is a 37 Dixie Lid Premiums.
Dixie Lid Premiums. Okay.
Premiums. And there's a set that's the 38 as well. There's not a lot of baseball players. There's a lot of like Hollywood stars. There's a golfer. There's some football. Bronco Nagurski has a card out there. I think some other guys have one too. Sammy Ball might be on. But they're beautiful, beautiful items that you can get in the pre-war less than $100.
Sweet.
You gonna show anything, Greg?
I'd be happy to. I pulled a couple of cards right here, and
kind of look like we're almost going.
Do you want vintage or do you want modern?
You know what? I want you to show ice skating cards.
I don't have any
vintage or modern.
I don't have any ice skating, but Mike Junk Wax Hero does.
Yeah, why don't you show modern cards?
All right, this is my card. I got my boy Rob, Cash Cards. He texted me the other day, and he said, "I found a card you need," and he texted me a picture of it. So
the
this is my
101?
guy,
There
my
it is.
Matt Manning, my former student. This is his 1 of 1 Topps Chrome rookie card auto superfractor.
I thought that's what you're going to show.
And did you say a
And-
former student?
Yeah, former student. He was
Wow.
the ninth overall pick in the draft in about 2016, I think.
Okay.
And he pitched for about 3 seasons for the Tigers. And I have his base, his regular superfractor 2022 Topps Chrome rookie card. And so the other best Topps card of his would be his autographed one. So the fact that was even found, I think, was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then here's my vintage, Chris. My vintage cards that I've been buying: 1962 Topps Smalls. I got.
Oh,
You're
that's
killing me.
great.
I've been trying to. I randomly bought one of these this month, and then in January, and then I just went on a tear and ended up buying 6 of them. So I got Smalls. I got Squints here.
Nice.
And it's funny because the movie is set in 1962. So that's why they have it in the 1962 Topps design. So, yeah, it's pretty weird. I bought 7 cards this month and in January, and all 7 cards are modern cards. Which
You know
is
what gets
just
me?
random.
Yeah.
You know what gets me, Greg, is I don't think in that entire movie they mentioned Mickey Mantle once.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
That's interesting. Or Roger Maris. That would be the year they would be talking about Roger Maris.
Yeah, it's
That's
all about
interesting.
Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those
Yeah,
kids
so-
was at, I forgot if it was Squints or which one of them, but one of them was at my LCS within the past few months signing autographs. I didn't go, but I probably should have. But one of them was here.
Well, the one that was the real good player, the Jet, his nickname was the Jet. He wore
Benny.
Dodgers.
Benny. Yeah.
Benny the Jet. He's a firefighter in LA, and he's the only one that won't participate in any of the stuff. Like, he won't do signings, he won't go to the appearances, but he's a firefighter down in Los Angeles.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, he was in one of the Mighty Ducks movies.
Yeah, he was.
Yep. He couldn't stop. He was like a speed skater that didn't know how to stop.
Oh, I remember that. I don't remember it being him, which, whatever, but I do remember that character. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you some of my this year's pickups. Some big cards, and I want you to look at my versatility. So I have this 1880 Admiral cigarette card. That's a lady in there, by the way. I picked up that and 16 other of those cards at an auction. But a couple that I wanted to show up, I kind of pivoted this year, and not intentionally, but our friend Tom bought a collection, and people ask me why I pivoted to collecting Hall of Fame quarterbacks is because I bought this from Tom. Oh, I'm frozen here.
No, you're not.
You're not frozen.
Not on our end.
You're moving.
Okay, well, I'm frozen to me. So tell me, can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a little glare at the bottom if you move it up a little bit.
Okay.
There
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
good. Oh,
A little more.
it was.
Put it right over your face for us, Chris.
Yeah. The other up, Chris. The other up.
Yeah, the other up.
Okay.
Beautiful.
How about that?
That's a nice card, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had this one I got as well.
Nothing but glare. Move it up.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Johnny Unitas.
Yep.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And then at a card show, I picked up this Lenny Dawson.
Lenny Cool.
That's cool.
So
Very
now
cool.
I'm collecting Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Oh, you got some good ones ahead of you. You need an Otto Graham. You need a Sammy Baugh.
Agreed.
Didn't Fran Tarkenton that died? No. Who was it that died yesterday? Wasn't Tarkenton. It was the guy from the 58 set. Sonny Jurgensen died yesterday.
Sonny Jurgensen. Yeah.
Oh.
Parkinson's card 62. Is that his rookie? Just into the Hall
It
of Fame.
is.
Hall
It
of Fame.
is.
Football card Hall of Fame.
I've got something else to show if you guys don't mind.
Go for it.
I picked this up a while ago, and some of you have seen it. We've talked about it before. I was perusing eBay, and I saw this, and I loved it, so I bought it. And I didn't know anything about it. I started doing a little bit of research, and it's this Rawlings Premium Stam Usual 1952.
Love it. Oh, love it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I started researching it afterwards. This is the only one graded by SGC.
Wow.
And there's 11 of them graded by PSA, but this is the only one graded by SGC. And I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you. I've done a little research on it, but I don't think it's like super rare, but I don't think they're just everywhere either. I don't know. Does anybody have
It's hard
any
to know.
information on it?
It's
Anybody know?
oversized.
No.
If
What'd
you
you
get
say,
tired
John?
of it, I'll take it off your hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It's really neat that it's blank back, but I mean, this is a 1.5 and there are no creases, and I can't figure it out either, Chris.
Yeah.
But
Does
anyway,
it have any paper loss on the back?
no, it's got staining on the back, and I'm sure
Hmm.
that's why you can see the stains up there. But
There's certain things that like SGC, if it has like a pinhole or if it has paper loss, they won't go above 1.5.
yeah, that's or
It's
even
very
with a
cool
mark.
looking.
I love it.
Yeah,
And,
it's sweet.
he's my guy, and it's a big item, and I just thought it was really, really cool.
All right. Well, I picked up a few cards myself. I actually had a few bucks left on my ComC account, and before they finished the Hall of Fame voting, I did take guesses of who was going to get elected. And so one of the ones I got then is this guy here.
Mm.
I got a 2007 Bowman's Best Blue out of 99 because, it doesn't exactly cost that much. So,
Very nice.
and then I don't know. Do any of you know anything about 2007 Fleer? Because I was not expecting it to be smaller size, but that's what I chose for Carlos Beltran. And it, as you can see, it doesn't fill the whole holder.
Weird. No clue.
The only Fleer set worth having is 1991.
Those beautiful yellows,
Not
right?
as pretty as those 91 Fleers, but I thought this one was decent looking. And Mookie Chilson definitely approves of the uniform choice I made for him. So, and besides that, I also took a shot at next year's election because I had the spare money. And I bought a 2012, the first year of Panini, a silver of this guy here.
Can't see it. Who is it? I can't see it. Sorry.
Buster Posey.
Oh, nice. Yep. That makes sense. Beautiful.
So I thought that would be a good representation where I'm trying to get the assortment of cards here, the first year of Panini with a silver card. So
That's right. He's eligible next year, right?
he is eligible next
Yeah.
year.
I need to pick up his need to get on that before he makes it.
Besides that, I was able to finally find a replacement for this. So
yeah.
this will probably either go to CIA or come with me for trade night.
What do you mean you got a replacement for it?
There we go.
How much is the PSA 8 worth?
Any more money?
How much is the PSA 8 worth?
The 8 is supposed to be somewhere around $150.
Oh wow!
So
nice.
But
well, being that it's a football night, and I'm hoping Graig would be on here. Here's a guy that he should be familiar with out there in San Francisco.
Uh-oh.
Not a lot of people put a lot of football stuff on our channels, but I do have some football, so Graig should know who this gentleman is.
Oh yeah.
And there's a
White Tittle.
There's another one. And then I saw on Facebook post had all the colleges that have had somebody who's a Super Bowl MVP, and I saw my Jayhawks. I'm like, what the hell? And then I forgot. Wait a second, the Diesel, John Riggins.
Oh, nice.
He was the Super Bowl MVP with the Redskins. And then our football history is so pathetic. I have to show the best football player for KU, Gale Sayers.
Yes. Very nice.
Show a couple of those.
That's on my list for sure.
Copies like that?
Do what?
Any particular reason why you got the duplicates?
I had them both ungraded, and I sent them off for grading this year.
Okay,
that makes sense.
So I've had those.
Hard to find that centered. That 4 is the one I would keep.
Yeah, I probably will give up one of them. I mean, they're both pretty nice. But my favorite football card, I've showed this before, is my Topps All-American, Jim Thorpe. Just love that card.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, just wanted to show some football, even though I'm not really paying attention to the game.
Seattle's going to win this thing.
Oh yeah,
it's never been close.
29-7.
It's 29-7.
Yeah, I picked up one this week. I talked about today on a video that I did from a guy I met in Strongsville, and he sent me a 1981 Donruss George Brett in a 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
nice
must mean that it's nice.
And what I said, what I said. Now, the guy that I met, his name's Ray Lewis, like the football player, and he's 83 and was at Strongsville.
Was he in the limo too? Sorry.
Excuse me?
Oh, nothing. Go ahead.
That's funny. He was 83 years old, and his friend that he went there with was 81. They both collect. They still collect. And he was at the Kansas City card show in Harris Casino and found that card and sent it out to me. And
very nice of him.
Yeah, super nice. But I wouldn't have him as a friend if I didn't go to Strongsville, right?
I mean,
So
with
it's all
so
about
many 81 Donruss I've held, and I don't feel like I've ever held a card in my hand that would be a 10 in that set. Like, there's like so bad production quality.
They came out
Why it's so special.
Bent corners. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, most of them would be fuzzy with the picture, and some of them you'd even feel like a weird texture on the front of them a lot. So
they're rough. Some of
Final,
them
it's kind of like finding an OPG in a 10 or so, you know?
Yeah.
I picked up one more. I'll show one more. I got this is my most recent pickup. So I just showed this in a video a few days ago. But very excited about it. You know, as a born and raised in Chicago, you know, it's not like a top 10 card for me, but it's right up there. And I wasn't even planning on picking this up in this grade. I was going to do it looking for it in a 3, but I saw this and had to pull the trigger on it. But
wow.
That's the Ernie Banks. It's a PSA 4, but it just checked all the boxes. I mean, you know, there's just so many things with this card. A lot of times the name, you know, at the top, that Ernie Banks, it gets cut off at the top. But this one is just, it's beautiful. It's not cut off. It has, you know, some spacing there. Pretty nicely centered. It's not perfect, but of course on this card, you know, it's with those white borders. You know, and again, it's just like these, I don't know, man, these PSA grading standards, I feel like personally, PSA is, I know why they demand a premium, right? Because their grading, you know, is they're tough on their grading, and especially like their newer slabs. I mean, I feel like I've owned this before in the past, and I think I've owned it in a 4, but I feel like, you know, cards nowadays that PSA are grading, they have their own kind of grading standards that has gone against the norm forever, you know, and I don't know. So yeah, I feel like it's, you know, picking this up in a 4 looks a lot nicer than what I would assume a 4 would look like. So great pickup for me.
Hey,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong, that guy was Rookie of the Year runner-up to Cardinal great Wally Moon, right?
You know, you're probably right. I don't know, but I'm assuming because you brought it up, you're
Aaron
right.
We're down below. Wally Moon has one big old eyebrow.
Oh yeah, I know the card. Yeah.
He got extra votes for the eyebrow. Unibrow.
Yeah. Hey, I've got something to share. It's a little lesser. It's a known guy to a lot of people, but I've shared about on my channel before. I got to meet a Cardinals pitcher from the '60s named Dick Hughes, and he was a rookie in '67 and won 16 games and got Rookie of the Year runner-up to Tom Seaver. And it was a big year for him, and then tore his rotator cuff the next year and was done. And so a few years ago, I got to, here's a picture of the two of us, if I can get it. But I got to meet him and have lunch with him and that kind of stuff. So we talk from time to time, and he sends me stuff. And I found a ticket of his, which I thought was pretty cool. And I sent that to him, and he signed that for me and put Cardinals game winner 2-0. And he pitched against Gaylord Perry in this game and had a complete game shutout against Gaylord Perry. And he did give up a hit to Willie Mays, but got an RBI in this game in the 9th inning, and they beat Perry 2-0. So I thought that was kind of cool. I sent that down to him, and he sent that back. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, I've got a little collection of stuff from him going, and eventually I'll make something where I'll put all the stuff that I have of him. I just thought that was really neat.
That's awesome.
I was familiar with that name because number 3 was my guy Gary Nolan, that is the major leaguer my dad faced. So
yeah, absolutely,
for that Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, right under the two of them, it's Seaver, Hughes, and then Nolan.
So
very cool.
I was gonna say, has anybody seen Eddie's Cardboard Chaos, or is he out celebrating right now?
I saw him at one point. He said
he was
something.
in there.
Oh,
he was in there. Yeah.
Is it over? Is the game done?
No, there's a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
It is, but it isn't.
It's,
yeah.
You know, result-wise, it's over.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's like 2.5 minutes on the clock. But
2.5 minutes, but Patriots are down at the 5-yard line ready to score.
So what is the score? I guess I
29-7.
Oh, okay. I told myself I didn't care, but now I guess I'm a little curious.
Yeah, and
29.
You forget about, you forget about people that are fans of a certain team, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I'm still rooting for the Chiefs. I don't think my bet's going to come through.
And me, the Bears.
One vintage card recently that I haven't shown yet. So I did replace Ernie Banks in my collection.
Yeah, I love that. That 58 with that yellow background, beautiful.
Come on. Is it going to focus? Come on, camera. There it goes.
Yeah, there's just a few guys that don't take bad photos, and Ernie Banks is one of them. It's like any of his cards are great cards.
His 71 looks a little silly.
You're right. The 71 does. Yeah.
Well, Clemente's are like that too, I think. Clemente has a lot of good pictures. I mean, they're all from the same photo shoot, but
yeah, you're right. The 71 Banks, where he's that kind of awkward smile close up on his face, right?
Right.
Or is yeah. It's yeah. All right, minus that one.
Oh, with his mouth open. I remember that one. Okay.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah, for anybody
any good comments?
we're talking
It did
about
score.
Yeah, that one there.
There you go.
oh yeah.
That one's a little wild. So
It looks like he's looking at somebody that's stealing his car or something.
Well, if I have a topic, if we have time, I don't know if we do, but it's actually a question that Chris posed on his video today. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I'd be interested.
did not get a chance to watch it. I saw the title. It made me curious of what he's talking about.
Chris has a channel.
Yeah, it is. It's CSG rated 7. It's a CSG rated 7 channel.
So what is the topic?
Go ahead, Chris.
I don't remember. What's kind of in that title that I got more views on that in 3 hours than I got on my last video. So it's all in the title. I didn't mean to do that, but basically, I talked about my friend, Ray Lewis, and his friend, Coach Vic, 83 and 81, and then another friend of mine, 76. And my friend that's 76 was, when I called him today to see if I could show a card that he gave me, he was in his garage working on a 65 Corvette, trying to restore it by Strongsville so he could take the money and buy him a card in Strongsville. So he wants to trade that Corvette in for a big card. And, I don't know. I pose the question of, basically, do you have an exit strategy? Like when I was a kid, I thought I was going to collect all these cards. And then when I retired, I was going to trade them in and sell them and use that money to travel. But baseball cards, going to these card shows, has allowed me to travel. What did I want to do when I was, a retired teacher? Because I could have retired when I was 52. And my whole thought was, when I retire, I'm selling these cards and I'm going to travel and meet people. Well, hell, I get to do that going to baseball card shows, And anyway, I didn't know if you guys, basically, did you guys have plans when you first started to collect? How long are you going to collect? How long do you see yourself collecting? And, I understand that the typical answer is, well, I'm going to collect till my health goes bad or something like that. But I didn't know if anybody else had any other plans. So that was kind of my question.
Yeah. I actually had two responses to that, because when I first watched that video, I was thinking of a conversation.
Oh, wait a second. Stop for a second. Greg, did you hear that? When he first watched that video, that means he's watched it more than once. But go ahead. Speak louder so Greg.
That's why you got all those views.
I did go back and watch this.
There's not 50 hours in a day for us to watch Greg's videos multiple times.
I did watch it twice because I noticed that my response was so much different than everybody else's. I thought maybe I missed the gist of it, which I did in a point. But the reason I put my first response was last night, Chris and I were on an online chat, and I won't get into the specifics, but he posed a question to those of us in this chat. What would you do in this scenario? There's a card that he really wants. And to get that card, he didn't want to just pay cash. He thought about doing a trade to get to it. So he gave us two different scenarios. And I picked the scenario that I would have gone with. And I don't think at this time he told us, Chris, that you'd actually done the trade. But I picked one and the other two guys, and we all picked the same one. And that happened to be the one that Chris went with. So I kind of thought that's what he was talking about, because I thought about that question after I answered it to him on the chat last night. Going forward, I don't know how my health is going to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So I've made a decision going forward. I want to collect cards that I absolutely top tier for me, that I love a lot. And if that means I have to move a card that I like to get a card that I love, why would I not do that? I don't know if I have another year to enjoy these cards, or 5 or 10 or 20. So I don't want to take that chance that, well, maybe someday I'll get it 10 years from now. I don't know if I'm going to be collecting here 10 years from now. So that's kind of my philosophy. And I know some people have been getting grief from moving on from some really good cards, maybe cards that I wouldn't have moved on from myself because I like those cards. But the card that they moved on to get is a card they love. A card that they just, that's like way up for them. And some people give people a little bit of grief for doing that. Why would you do that? I wouldn't have done that. It doesn't matter if you or I would do that. It matters what that person gets for their collection that they absolutely love, because that's the card they get to look at and cherish for however long that they are doing this collecting. But I agree with what a lot of people said, is it's more than just the cards. It's that I can't imagine myself not collecting. But the biggest reason I can say I can't imagine myself not collecting in the future is the people. Now I can't imagine not having you guys, my friends in the hobby. I shouldn't just say hobby friends, they're friends. I mean, these are friends I know I'm going to have for the rest of my life. So that, as much as I can't see myself not collecting, it's not just the cards, it's all of this that we're doing right now. I mean, how could you want to give that up ever? So I kind of had two different answers to Chris's question, but that's just kind of how I felt. But I'm curious what you guys think about. Do you have an end game? How long do you guys see yourself collecting for?
I think my end game is similar to the Egyptian pharaohs. I think they had the right idea. So
I think for me, I see the way I collect is like I have kind of like two different collections, right? Like I like buying iconic baseball cards, right? Like I like buying just awesome baseball cards that resemble an awesome collection, right? And so, and then there's another part of me that collects like the littler things. Like I love my 2016 Chicago Cubs World Series team collection and my growing up, my Jordan collection, right? Even though that's an expensive collection and Jordan cards have gotten crazy, that's nostalgic for me, right? And then, you know, like little Chicago Bears stuff. So I have like two different collections, like part of my collections that I'm nostalgic for, and then another part of my collection, which is, you know, where all my value is, right, is my iconic stuff. And for me, honestly, I've thought about this question numerous times. And to be honest, I honestly think once I have enough value in my iconic, you know, area of sports cards to sell and finish paying off my house, I'd probably end up doing that, right? Like that, I've thought about this plenty of times and I'm like, you know, if I could take a part of my collection that's the iconic portion and sell it and finish paying off surprise my wife, right? And pay off my house. You know, for her giving me all the, you know, so much shit over the years of buying cards and this and that. It's like, if I could turn around and be like, babe, I just paid off, I'm paying off the house. I just sold, you know, X amount of dollars in cards, paying off the house. For me, I think that's where I might do it. Now, does my collecting stop there? I don't know. Maybe I continue to slowly start buying again, right? But I think that for me, if I see that value in this part of my collection, now again, I'm not going to sell my Jordans. I'm not going to sell my Chicago stuff, the stuff that's nostalgic to me. But the iconic stuff that's not necessarily nostalgic, it's just the stuff that I love because it's iconic and I like to have a, you know, an awesome collection. That's the stuff I could see parting with to, let's say, pay off my house, you know.
What about you, Justin?
You guys all in shock or what?
No. I'm just
Read the comments that just
I'm
popped
taking
up.
it into. I do. Mine's different. I'm like you, Jeff. I have two parts of my collection. One, I wouldn't say inherited. My mom is still here, but she gave me a binder of the cards she collected when she was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some pretty big cards in it. I mean, big for me anyway. And so like that, I think I would have a hard time getting rid of those cards for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them, I have it sitting over here, but this is one. And so like she opened this in 68 from a pack.
Wow.
And so for me, like that would be super difficult to ever, you know, and what my family does with that is on them, and, you know, they can do whatever they want to. There's no stipulation with that, but I don't think I could get rid of that. The rest of them, if I had to, or maybe someday when my wife and I are old and we're still in good health and we don't know how much longer that would be and we want to go on a nice vacation, I wouldn't see moving the rest of that stuff for my wife to enjoy a nice year together or a few years together or whatever. But other than that, I have some non-negotiable, non-movable cards that I just can't get rid of.
Yeah.
Before Greg says anything, because I'd like to hear what Greg says, I had some interesting answers, and there's some differences here in some of the answers. When you get a little bit older, you start thinking about your mortality a little bit. And I've had an answer from a guy that, you know, that's been a collector for a long time, that's had third stage cancer, worried about stuff. I had guy that was basically saying he was now he's been a collector for a long time, but now he and his wife are just making ends meet, and he doesn't like the way he doesn't like the way she feels, so he's starting early, and he's taking stuff to make his paycheck look a little bit bigger. And so that's interesting. And then you got guys, that are, Justin, I hope you're like in the first quarter of life, or at least just early in the second quarter of your life. You tend not to think about that very much, but you get, I'm closer to 60 than I am 55. And I hope, I'm probably starting the fourth quarter, right? And I hope that quarter goes into overtime a little bit. But I want to be like freaking Ray Lewis from Liberty, Missouri. That's 83 freaking years old, hops on a plane by himself, meets up with his buddy Coach that's coming in from California to go all the way to Strongsville, that's looking for a card. I want to be like my buddy Ken from South Carolina, who's 76 freaking years old, that's in the garage trying to get his 76 Corvette fixed up so he can go to Strongsville and buy a card. That's what I want to be. And so, I'd like to carry this as long as I can, but I also want to give my wife good directions on what to do. So sorry about that, Greg. I'd like to hear where you are in your thinking.
I think I'm a moving target on it. I don't think that I have a set answer. I don't think. And as you guys are sharing where you're at, I'm like, yeah, I could see kind of some of that and some of that. I'm not a stuff person. I don't like having lots of stuff. Like my closet is pretty thin. Like my pile of shirts isn't super tall. I just am kind of simple with what I like to have. And so like I respect the people who have lots, like, Mike Moynihan and Chris, you guys have a lot. You guys have volume, and I think that's great. But for me, I'm more about kind of a pared down sort of thing. And I've kind of felt like my collection over the last couple of years was getting almost too big. And so I've kind of pared it down a little bit. And I'm also a goal-oriented person. Like I'll set a goal and then I work like crazy to accomplish that goal. And then once I accomplish that goal, there's like a little bit of a let off. And then I set a new goal. And it's sort of like it's a blessing, but it's also a curse, because you're never done. As soon as you finish the race, you're starting the next race. But to a certain extent, I think for me, like I look at myself as doing kind of what Andrew Nuff Said Cards does, where he's constantly taking pieces of his collection to kind of move up in his collection. And he's constantly taking this and this and this to get this. And when you do that, it kind of tends to narrow. And so I see my collection over time is narrowing. I don't want my family. I've cleaned out too many relatives' homes, and the amount of stuff that they have. And when you go into those homes and you start going through the stuff, you start realizing how little stuff matters. Like stuff doesn't really matter that much. And so what I don't want to leave is a mountain of work for people. And so I think between being goal oriented and wanting to say, well, I mean, like the National was a big deal for me. I got a Ty Cobb card. Like that was a big deal for me. And now I have a Ty Cobb card. And I now have I have 2 Walter Johnson cards. Like that's crazy to me. And now it's like, well, what if I could get a Ruth card? What if I could get a Graig card? So I see myself as like, yeah, I've enjoyed having some of these cards, but I can see myself continuing to kind of narrow it so that when I'm done, or not done, but I won't have a ton. And then that would make the exit strategy easier. So I think my exit strategy is part of my paring down. But then there are some cards I'd never sell.
Right.
And usually those cards are gifts. Those are specific, thoughtful gifts that somebody saw a card and said, Greg would like that, and bought it for me and gave it to me. Or there's a big story behind it, like my Ernie Banks. I'll never sell or upgrade my Ernie Banks. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't care if someone offered me a 9. I don't want a 9. I want the 5 that I have. Like, that's the card I want. So those cards are kind of in a different category. But I just kind of see myself kind of what Tony, and I think Tony was in the chat a minute ago. I don't know if he's still in there. Kind of what Tony has been doing is he's been getting things and he is enjoying them, and he enjoys them for a while. And then he goes, man, but if I could have that, that would be amazing. And so he takes these things he enjoyed for a while and he goes into the next thing. And it's sort of like having like a starter house. And then you enjoy, you love your starter house. I have great memories in my first house. I have great memories in my second house, but this house suits me better now. And it's not like I turned my back on those other houses, but this is the house for me right now at this point in my life. And I think cards could be like that too.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
That's like the back of a baseball Hallmark card right there.
Yeah, I think that's a great, I mean, because I think about that all the time too, where it's like you're enjoying smaller cards, you know, instead of like, okay, like for instance, the 2 cards that I showed, you know, the Ernie Banks and the DiMaggio, right? Those aren't cards I could go out and buy, right? Like, you know, those are cards that I've had to sell stuff to purchase those. So, and I went through, and Mike, I know you did the same thing a few months back. You know, you sold some stuff and you're targeting new stuff. And
Yeah.
I did the same thing, you know, back in like December, I had sold a bunch of things because I wanted to start focusing on some bigger things. And I think that's what it is. It's like you buy what is in your budget for a period of time, right? And then once you, again, kind of acquire certain things, you're like, man, I could sell off these things and get this, because this is what I really want, but I can't afford this ever, right? I can't, this is just not a card I'll ever buy. So, you know, it's like you're enjoying, instead of, you know, putting, you know, $50 a week or whatever you end up, whatever you save away, that's boring, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to take this, I'm going to buy this card because I like this card too. And so it's like buying your average everyday weekly cards. To me, at least, how I think of it is like a little bit of a savings account for being able to kind of, you know, get rid of those and get into something bigger, you know? So.
And the other thing I want to add into that, Jeff, and I think you make a great point there too, is how much more do we appreciate things that were difficult to acquire?
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, it's like the kid in high school whose parents buy him a brand new BMW on their 16th birthday.
Yep.
Versus me, who's going to have to work a lifetime to be able to get that same car. And then when I get it, all the blood, sweat, and tears make it that much sweeter. I mean, you know, Chris had to sacrifice a lot to get his Satchel Paige card last year at Strongsville.
Yeah.
And I know that the sacrifice to get that makes that card that much more special.
Wow.
And same with the, you know, Orlando's in the chat and Tony's still in the chat. Those guys have gotten some big cards over the last couple of years, but they've given up some stuff that they really like, and that's great stuff to be able to acquire it.
Yep.
And that makes them like it even more. If things are always easy, then we don't ever appreciate anything.
Nope.
But the things that are hard to acquire, those things we appreciate more. And so if you're having to sell stuff that you like to get this thing that you never thought you'd accomplish, it sucks, but it makes you appreciate that thing more. And I think that is something that, because sometimes I feel like other people in the community put their value on what other people are doing. And it's like they say, oh, I can't believe people sold. How do you sell that card? Like,
Right.
you
Yeah.
sold that card. And it's like, wait a second. That's not right for you, but it's right for this person. And this person
Exactly.
achieved some huge goal. And we can't put our values on other people's collecting styles. And it doesn't matter to me what you guys collect. It doesn't matter to me if you're buying stuff that I don't like, or that if you are having fun with it and it's bringing you joy, then that's what you should get. And I think we need to get away from, I can't do this because everybody's going to think I'm insane. Like, they'll think I'm crazy if I do this. We can't
Yeah.
think like that. We have to go, I want that, so I'm going to go get that.
Yeah.
And it's got to hurt. It's got to hurt, and that makes it feel feel better when you're through it. You know, training for a marathon isn't easy, but
And Greg,
crossing
you
the
were
finish
talking-
line feels good.
Sorry,
Yep.
but Greg, you were talking about how you were thinking about leaving behind things as well, and so if you're trading those 5 cards that may not move quite as quickly or something like that for one bigger card that's worth the same amount of value that can be moved within the next few days if they have to be, like how much better is that for someone to take that on, even if it's only 5 cards versus one card that you literally could sell the day that you need to sell it.
I agree. I agree with that. And liquidity is definitely something that goes into the equation for me when I'm adding different cards and stuff. But I also like my dad. I'll use him for an example. My dad is too worried about what he leaves to me and my brother. He'll be like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this because, you know, then when you guys get it, it'll be more of a headache. He's got to live his life. So I can't just collect, and I can't just collect what's going to be easy for, you know, my heirs to be able to sell. I have to also make sure that I'm enjoying it, because if all I'm doing is acquiring things that are going to make it easier for them, then I'm not having as much fun as I could be having. So I think there's a fine line between getting what you like, but also setting things up to not leave a burden as well. I think that there can be a fine line in there. And so it's like, I want my parents, when they die, I want that to be the day there's $0 in their bank account. I want them to enjoy their lives. I want them to have fun and go on trips and do stuff. And if they're not doing stuff because of me, then I feel that makes me feel horrible.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to collect what you like. I mean, I collect freaking pirate cards. Like, who collects those? But I'm never going to sell that set. All I'm going to do is upgrade that set. And someday they'll call up REA or they'll call up CIA, you know, #CIA. And they'll put it up for sale and they'll go, this is Greg's freaking pirate set. And one guy will still be out there and go, that guy? All right, I'll bid, you know. So I have to make sure that I'm still having fun with what I'm collecting too. So it's both.
Well, yeah, it can be a factor. I mean, it doesn't have to be the factor of why you make decisions, but it can be a factor in the decision-making process.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What was George Clooney and Brad Pitt did that movie? It was like Ocean's
11.
What?
11.
Okay. There's a quote in there from a character that says, I want my last check on earth to bounce. You know, I want to live and I want to write my last day. I want the last check that I wrote bounce. I want my mom, and I don't want anything for anybody to, you know, I want my mom to do well and live her life too. But we all collect, a lot of us collect the same, but we all are different too. And our thinking is different. You know, and our journey changes. It zigzags every once in a while. At least mine does. There's some that it's a straight line. This is how I'm always going to collect. But there's some cards I need right now, and need in card collecting that shouldn't go. There's some.
We all get it though. We all get the need. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some cards I really would like in my collection, but it is tough for me to say the words, I want to spend 4 digits for a number. That's tough. And, you know, but where I am in my collection, I would like to have this one card. And I'm not going to tell that card right now, but I talked to a couple of friends that I just did this yesterday, and I was pretty excited. And I actually told a group of 3 guys that I was on the phone with, and Jayhawk Collector was not one that I intended to tell first, because I don't like him near as much as I like John 3D 80s Kid. But just happened to be there when I closed the deal with a really good collector. And I have one card in my collection that has a lot of equity. This collector had that same card that doesn't have much that is not as good as or not as valuable as my card. It's every bit as good. It's the same card. It's just a lesser grade, but it looks great and it will fit really good with one of the cards I have. So I'm giving up. He knows I had this other card, and he knows that because he's a YouTuber and he watches videos and he does he's a dealer, and he's getting a card from me. He's getting 2 cards from me, but I'm giving him 1 card that I have for the same card that he has, just so I can get 1 card that he has that I don't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like I know exactly what this whole deal is, and you haven't said one single card, and I know the whole deal right now.
Would you like to try to guess? Because I would reveal it if you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a satchel that's not as nice as yours, but you get his satchel and his Dobie.
Close, but close. But I have the
All right.
satchel. I have the satchel, and I'm keeping my satchel, and and I have the Dobie now too. But you are so close.
Okay.
He's on the right track.
Yeah.
So here, how much longer is this show? I feel like I need to go shave again, John.
All right, that's time to wrap it up. Bye,
Do you want me to finish the story here?
Yeah.
You have to now.
Okay, so I have a beautiful Mickey Mantle in a PSA 4. We have and I shouldn't. I'm not going to mention his name because of something. No, I tell you what, I am. Garrett Wells, great young dealer, 22 years old with a fountain of knowledge about vintage cards. And if you go back, I mean, Garrett's been, we've known Garrett since he's been like 17. Baseball memories, if you're not.
Ballpark memories,
if you're not subscribed to him. But he showed a video, and he had a Bob Feller Leaf, 49 Leaf Bob Feller. Nice card. And I want that card because I would like to finish all the Leaf Hall of Famers. And I talked to Garrett. I text Garrett, and then he called me, and he said, well, we talked about some of the cards, and he knew I had a John Clarkson that I just picked up in an 87 Allen and Ginter. And he had a Feller, and he told me the cards that I could give up just for the Feller. And sometimes you just can't make that work, right? You're trying to make a deal, and but he knew how much I wanted that Feller, and so he gave me a couple options, and one of the options was to trade my 53 Mantle in a 4 for his 53 Mantle that's like in a 2.5, and then he had that Feller. And I forget what the grade is. I should know, right? That's the most important card, but it's nice in a Leaf. And so I added my Mantle and my Clarkson to get his Mantle and his Feller. And I feel really great about it. And I'm excited about it. I mean, here I'm 58 years old. Ruben was on the chat. He knew how old I was when I said I was closer to 60 than 55. But anyway, I'm excited, and I'm shipping this thing out tomorrow. So if you're a post office worker looking at this, that's filled with these cigarette cards of women, so you don't need it, right? But anyway, I'm pretty excited, and I asked that question to the guys that I was with on the chat with Mike, and every one of them said yes. Now Tony, in a bigger way. Tony Southern Collector, he got some big pickups, but he was telling us that, some people just couldn't do that. But I'm just saying, I know how excited Tony is when he shows that card. And so no matter what, maybe I couldn't have done it, but who cares about what I think about what Tony could do? As long as Tony's smiling like he is, showing cards, it's your collection, man. Hey, collect what you like.
Yep.
Right. And Chris,
Congrats.
when Chris was going over that, because he didn't tell us he had done it yet, but I said, Chris, I know you well enough to know I can hear the excitement in your voice when you're talking about that feller. That alone gives it all the justification.
Yeah.
Not that you need to explain or justify to anybody, but it gave me, I could hear it in his voice. He wants that feller. That's the card that it's at a different level. I know he just picked up the Clarkson because I was there in St. Louis when he picked up that John Clarkson. That's a cool card, but he doesn't like it at the level of the feller. At least that's what it came across. So that's, to me, it was an easy agreement with him to do it that way. So I think all of us kind of felt that, because we all said we would do that trade, and then you told us that he gave us those two different options, and that's the one that he had gone with and had already set that up. So yeah.
And how was the eye appeal? I'm sure the eye appeal on the mantle, because you took the trade, was, I'm guessing, as nice maybe as yours, maybe just a lower grade, or what was the eye appeal on the mantle? Because for me, it's like, if it looked just as good, grade a little bit lower, you picked up a feller on top of that, it's a win-win.
Yeah. But just to be perfectly honest, it might not be as nice eye appeal as my 4.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I collect, Jeff, is a little bit different. I have it, and it's nice enough for me, because I really wanted a filler, right? And the big reason I wanted to do it is I've never been on Midlife Cards when they show and tell cards at the end of the month. Never been. So that I might have overpaid just for that.
Perfect.
Well, I was also going to say, are you worried about you and Mike, baseball collector, on Showcase Showdown now? Now you represent a 2.5 instead of a 4.
Well, all I know, and this is WWE wrestling. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it live, and he's going to be chicken to do it.
I just got to show you guys my treasure chest real quick. So this is my pirate set. It's all in here. And
in a treasure chest.
That's the whole set right there. So that they could just throw in the coffin with me.
That's cool, Greg. There's
cool.
Some 1911 Will's tobacco cards from Europe. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I have some Will's cards. Yeah.
Yeah, there's I'm a band director, and there's a musical celebrities set. There's about 40 of them, and it's got Beethoven, Mozart, Handel, a bunch of, and I think that would be such. I don't have any of them, but I've been eyeballing. They're not very expensive, but for me, I think that would be so cool. Where I like, nobody else cares about those cards, but I think that they're awesome. Like, I think there's a Jenny Lind, from. Anyway, I love that kind of stuff, Greg, and I think that so. I've watched you show pirate cards many times, and I don't care at all about pirate cards, but I care that you care about pirate cards.
Exactly.
Right. And I've never met you, and this is the first time we've ever talked, but the passion that you have when you show them resonates with me. What I think is funny is that we've decided as adults that we're going to try to make this an adult hobby, and it was never intended to be an adult hobby.
Yeah.
It was intended to be a bunch of kids just collecting and trading baseball cards of their favorite players and just enjoying. That's why a lot of mine have pinholes in them, because kids stuck them up on their walls. And we've decided that we make it an adult hobby. And when we do that, we think everybody has to do it the way that we want to do it. And I don't understand that. It never made sense to me. I've never said anything about any of that kind of stuff on my channel. I just get excited and want people to be excited about their own stuff. And so I don't understand it, but like I said, we're just trying to make something into an adult hobby that was meant for a bunch of kids to get bubble gum.
And that's really the spirit of this community, is we're having fun, like being kids again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of us are.
Yeah.
Well, a certain guy in Hawaii sure is, that joined the chat a few minutes ago.
He never shows excitement.
No. I get to see that guy in about 5 days.
Justin,
All
you
right.
mentioned that set, which is funny because my wife was a elementary music teacher. She's retired now, but she's been very supportive of this. But this is how you can win brownie points if you have a significant other. Get a card of something that they love. She loves composers. Her favorite is Brahms. I got her the Brahms from that set.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
she saw that. She's like, this is for me. I'm like, well, yes, this is for you. So she's like, they have cards of composers. I'm like, they've got cards of anything. But yeah, just kind of, if you want to score some brownie points, find something that your significant other is into, and you can probably find a card for that. And
You're not wrong. Well, and those cards are cool. They have the little
They are
bio
cool.
on the back, and they're neat little cards. So
Yeah, I actually had that set on my radar as well because I was looking to get the Bach. My oldest son's middle name is Sebastian because Bach. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Nice.
I picked up the Beethoven for me because I like the movie Amadeus. I mean, go figure. Buy one when you get two. So
It's an award-winning movie.
all
Didn't that
right,
win Best Picture one year?
I think it did.
I got something not card related that tweaked my
Uh-oh.
interest that I saw in a video a couple days ago. That is baseball related though. The fact that a guy recently did a video talking about a catcher possibly being the greatest defensive player of all time, because they've invented some new statistic for catchers now with framing that is incorporated into their defensive stats, and so they can have this massively inflated D-WAR number as a catcher that's insane now. And
The best catcher that's ever lived is Chris from Missouri. That's the way
I don't think so. It's close, but I don't think.
apparently Patrick Ramsey of the Giants is like blowing away the statistic for this now. And to me, that all points to, are we ready to just have computers call balls and strikes? Because if they're going to have a stat about fooling umpires and actually track it officially as an MLB stat, then should we not have humans calling balls and strikes if the catchers are so good at fooling umpires?
I think that the imperfections of the game are part of the fun of it. Now, sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you're really upset about something
When they
real bad.
frame every pitch, it doesn't work. I mean, they frame every pitch. They're not. An umpire gets mad. Here in Missouri, you go to a high school game or a little league game, and when the coaches talk before the game, the home plate umpires say, if your little turd of a catcher tries to pull a ball in 3 feet away, the next pitch is going to be the ball, and the next pitch is going to be a ball because,
Well, when it comes to umpires, I want to preface this. I am not anti-union, so don't get me wrong. My problem is when you get an umpire like Angel Hernandez, who sucks donkey balls, there needs to be something in place to get guys like that out. Reward the good umpires, make it easier to get rid of the ones who are just awful. Then maybe it wouldn't be, maybe we wouldn't need to have these robots calling balls and strikes. There's good umpires. There's also some.
There you go. Dan's comment. He'd prefer a 1990s Apple Macintosh to Angel Hernandez.
No, a TRS 80 with a floppy disk.
Right.
But
yeah, Angel Hernandez is the Oregon Trail of umpires.
Oh boy!
Only the old guys laughed at that.
Seventh grade, right there. Oregon Trail was hot in 7th grade that game.
Oh yeah.
Justin's like, what's that?
I know what Oregon. Look, I'm not crazy. I'm just Chris. Just so you know, I'm past the halftime. Okay, I'm 42. I'm not.
No, you still you're 42. Your age is the 55 now.
Okay.
So you're halftime.
Yeah.
I don't know. if they're going to have a stat that this Patrick Ramsey is going to have a higher WAR than Johnny Bench, then I think baseball ought to end.
Oh, now we know what it's all about.
I think baseball ought to be. I think everybody's dumb to collect baseball if they do that and switch over to football, or these cards from, the girl cards, theater cards from 1880. Now that's great. That's whatever.
If you want to look at bad umpiring, go back and watch videos of games from like the 50s and 60s. Those guys weren't even in position and they were calling people out. I mean, it's horrendously bad. They're bad now because we can see every play on instant replay over and over again. But go look at how out of position umpires used to be, like stolen bases or anything. They're awful.
Well, as a coach for a long time, I've never blamed a loss on an umpire. Because if you blame a loss on an umpire, then you got to give them credit for all your freaking wins. And I've never liked an umpire or a referee enough to give them credit for anything. So,
although I don't know, I think too many football games are dictated by penalties. Baseball. I agree with Justin with baseball. I like this new whatever metric, John, that you mentioned, where framing the plate is a new statistic. I don't agree with that at all. Justin, I agree with you. I think I like the little bit of imperfections in baseball, right? Maybe one instant replay or something, a game or whatever each team. I'm good with that. But I don't feel like that dictates outcomes of games way too much. And for me, football, like I'm still a football fan. I love my Chicago Bears. But I mean, I just think there's something in the game needs to be fixed, right? I understand like these pass interference calls and things like that when they're called and if they're warranted. But there are just way too many times where penalties completely dictate the outcome of the game, and I just think somehow it needs to be fixed. I don't know what the answer is, but it's it's so frustrating watching. Every time you see a big play in football, you can't get excited. You have to wait and see if there's a flag that was thrown or not. It's like, and that's what's killed football for me, past 10 years probably, but yeah.
That's a good point, because when I watch every football game I watch, I see the play and then I look down to see if you see the little.
Because there's a flag, right? And it's terrible. And again, I'm not saying they're always making bad calls or what, but there's just something how they can't allow it to dictate the result of these games or how these games end up, but who knows?
There's a lot of different rules in football where, there's rules in baseball, but when they involve, it's a lot of times it's supposed to be cut and dry. And with all the calls that an umpire makes and all the calls that, a first base umpire makes, if you want to take a break, umpire third base for the evening, right? You're done. That's your rest.
Right.
You're done. But the first base umpire has to make a lot of calls in one inning. Home plate umpire, that's the hardest play, and there's some really bad umpires.
Yeah.
But, you got umpires that get 95%, 97% of the strikes correct. But there's also a little game. There's also some game going on with those umpires catching a batter, because if they want the game, they're in charge for that game to be moving. And there's so many times that a borderline, it's 3-0 and it's a ball, but pretty close. They're going to call a strike because they're going to speed up that game to try to get him another at bat to swing the bat because it's faster that way.
Mm.
And so there'll be some missed calls, but I don't know. I don't like adding framing to WAR, because how do you go back and say, Yogi Berra was a bad framer, or Roy Campanella was a bad framer? You can't do that.
Well, they didn't even track the stats, so they can't.
Right.
So, yeah. All right.
Well, how is it when it's framed well and it's just a bad strike call? Like, I mean, right? I mean, if it's outside and they call it a strike, is that because he framed it well, or is that because the ump sucked?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're giving credit to someone when it may not even be him who earned it or did it.
Yeah. Angel Hernandez was a great umpire. Those catchers just fooled him.
Hey, but that happens all the time in sports, Greg. You know, the quarterback gets completions and it could hit every receiver in the hands.
Yeah.
And but that's on the quarterback. You know, he didn't complete those passes.
But you could have a perfect QBR and have incomplete passes.
Okay.
So there's some account for that.
Yeah.
All right.
I've had enough.
I think we're about dying here. Anybody got some last words before we say goodnight to the folks at home?
I'll just say I appreciate you including me and inviting me tonight. It's always an honor whenever anybody says, "Oh, it'd be nice to have Greg on there." So thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate it.
Oh my God, I'm about to throw.
Well, in all honesty, I didn't mean to send the invite to that group chat.
Oh, well,
I probably shouldn't be here either.
Never mind.
Mike threw it out there, and I'm like, all right, Sheriff, nobody else is doing anything. I'll do it.
Well, I said yes.
So, Greg, I should be the one. I should be the one saying I'm honored to be here, not you. So,
I can't believe we're doing a live without Jason Everyday Card Collector. What the hell?
He was in the chat. He was in the chat for a while.
Oh,
he got mad that he wasn't on.
Yeah. Well, he was actually watching the football. So,
Jeff, are you going to the West Coast Card Show next week?
No, I was planning on it. Dylan texted me, and we were talking about going. Well, and then my wife convinced me to go to New York with her. So my wife is going to New York for like this Fashion Week event. Her company's throwing like this thing, and so free hotel and free Ubers and dinners and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm headed to New York this week.
That's
and
tough
I'll be
to give up.
I might go. I might go on Sunday. I don't know if I know the big YouTube thing is Friday, and I don't know if there's who's going to be there Sunday. I might just go Sunday and see if I recognize anybody and say hello to anybody. But no, I mean not Friday or Saturday.
Gotcha.
You gonna be there? Are you gonna be there all weekend or just a couple days?
I fly in Friday, and then I'll be there the second half of the day Friday, and I'll be there most of the day Saturday. And then we're gonna do a little road trip to see a collection on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I have to walk on a runway at a fashion show in New York, so I'm not gonna be able to be there.
I'm just hopefully attending a party. That's it. That's it for me. Just tagging along.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. It was great having you in the chat on screen. I really appreciate it. I know, Super Bowl is a big event for most people. So thanks for deciding to stick with us instead. So,
yeah.
Hey, wait a second. How about if you have a glass lifted up, or if you don't, pretend. And here's to Eddie's Seahawks for winning the Super Bowl.
No.
Hey.
Congratulations to Eddie. Right?
Oh, yeah. There you go. On that note, let's get the hell out of here.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See you guys.
Love my hobby. Keep collecting baseball cards.
But hey, we want to keep the lights on here at Four Collectors Studios, so hit the like button for us, guys.
So thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time on Four Collectors.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. Subscribe to the Four Collectors channel if you haven't done so yet, and see you soon.
All right, guys. Clemente Collector has said we hit a grand slam, so that makes me feel good.